Like, they got to pick their own teams, but one picked a team exclusively of heels, and one picked a team exclusively of faces. And that's a coincidence, isn't it?
I get a feeling this is going to be better than the Survivor Series team.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'll go Team Flair just because I like, Drew, and I was impressed by him this week. Mm-hmm. What about you?
I feel
Do
like
you really care?
Team I've got nothing better to do. Hogan is gonna win, and. If I was a wrestler, I'd go on Team Hogan. I wouldn't mind getting some a pay deal from that just to make an appearance.
You're right. And how about the Saudi Arabia star himself, Mansoor, involved against Cesaro for the night? Yeah, singles match has been booked here.
Wow.
Maybe this is the man that won the.
This is his breakthrough moment. I mean, I know he had one there before. He won. We've not heard much of him since then.
Is this the next one now, Matt? You going for him? Are you in this one?
I think haven't you? You got a back Mansoor for this.
For old Cesaro.
Yeah.
So anyway, this event takes place for us in the UK. A little bit of a nicer time. Should be around 5 p.m. On the 31st next week. If you want to tune into this. What is going to be another bizarre, controversial...
If you want to tune in for this one.
Well, it is a bit like that now, isn't it? So, there's a little bit of a mini predictions there from that question that you asked. Okay, next then. Who have we got? DP. Me and my friends will be at York Hall. Are you doing rated show after the event? I want to get in and support you guys. It's going to be a great show in London. I don't know. Sometimes we do it straight after. It all depends on the timing and the setup we have. But if we can, we will. But if not, we'll do it like straight after, sort of another point. But if you see us about, come up to us, come and say hello. It's fine. Always encourage people to do that. Get some photos or whatever, and talk wrestling. DX1. NXT is doing a fine job for me, and I don't understand why people are saying it's not that good now. I really liked the Walter match. Speaking of Walter, could he be like a dominant big guy on the main roster? Also, same question for Keith Lee. It's not going to take me quick to work this one out, I'll tell you. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, the matches are still good on NXT, and for me, that isn't the problem. It's not the quality of the matches. It's the pacing. It's like adverts during the match. It's just removing itself from what it was. It had its own unique identity, and they've changed it. And I think people thought if it wasn't broke, don't fix it. But they've somehow felt the need to tweak things here and there and change bits about it. And it's not what it used to be. And the other part of the question with Walter, Walter, he definitely can be a star anywhere he goes. He can work with anyone by the looks of it, and we've seen him work with a variety of different people. So I feel like, he has got that about him. Keith Lee is maybe a more difficult one because he does his movesets are more out there, more outlandish, more dangerous probably from a WWE perspective. So I think making the transition to the main roster, they'd hold him back, and he probably wouldn't be as exciting as he is now. Yeah,
Volta works very snug, very intense. I'd love to. My dream match would be Volta and Lesnar just once. I'd love to see those guys like that styles clashing. But here's the thing: WWE, Vince McMahon's going to look at Volta and go, "What have you got in front of me?" He is. I mean, he's going to look at his body and go, what have I got here? Even though we know Volta is perfect big man style and he's great, like his best matches are with smaller guys that I've seen so far, and he likes working the big man style, and he'd be perfect for like people like Daniel Bryan and even like AJ and some of those guys. But I know what WWE are like. You see it with Rusev come in. Brilliant for a year, and then they dropped him. Yeah. All these guys, I mean, there's hands full of. There's loads of them that have come along, been dominant, and then they just give up on them. They just become another ordinary bloke, and I think that's where Volta fits. I think, like at the minute, if he's just between UK NXT and NXT, I think he's fine.
You know what? I think the middle ground lies. I mean, we spoke about Walter and Keith Lee. I think Dijakovic, I think he's got the body and he's got the athleticism. I think in the middle ground there, he could be the one that someone like Vince might look at and think, he's got something about him. Yeah, no, you're totally right there.
Okay, Ramiro now. Randy's posts and his tags of all the guys that have contracts ending same time as he in 2020. Is he going AEW? Well, what do you think, Matt? Do you think Randy's just bumping the price up a bit here for himself in 2020 because his contract's up from 10 years.
This is not the first time he's done this though. So if this was something new for him, then I might think
it was fascinating that he stand next to the Elite and he tags like the Revival guys. He's got Rusev in there. He's got all tagging on, and then Cody's on it, and the Young Bucks. But that's Randy, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
But look, his contract is he signed a 10-year contract back in 2010. He's going to try and boost his price up. I'm sure this is only helping.
Yeah,
if WWE realise he might go to AEW, that's not to say he will or he has those intentions. However, I would imagine someone like Randy does have good connections with Cody, just through his Cody's dad being Dusty Rhodes and that kind of thing. And from a financial point of view, I would imagine Randy's pretty well off now. That he could probably afford. I mean, AEW's paying big money anyway. He'd be one of their top earners like Jericho. Jericho's been talking about openly how much more money he's making now than he was at WWE. So it's not like you're stepping down in financial grounds now either. So for Randy, does Randy feel he's done everything? He probably does, because he tried to get in on The Rock, didn't he? Put a tweet out against The Rock before SmackDown.
Yeah.
Nothing come of it. He wants that WrestleMania match. Do you think he's going to get that? I would say no. I don't think WWE are interested in doing Randy versus Rock. I think that's far from their minds for that match.
I feel like he's just hinting that the options are there. That I don't feel like he wants to go there.
No.
But the option is there, and he could make more money there. So perhaps WWE should pay him what he's worth, because he is a star now that they can't really afford to lose. I mean, I know it doesn't look like it by the way they book him.
Yeah.
But if WWE wants to learn from history, it reminds me of the Bret Hart situation, doesn't it? When he could have stayed with WWE, but there was more money to be made elsewhere. Yeah. But it wasn't like Bret wanted to leave. And if
I think he
WWE
just
don't
wants
learn
more
from that,
opportunity.
then they're silly, really. They should pay him what he's worth.
If Randy went to AEW, that'd be a massive coup for AEW, because
something WWE can't afford.
He could work like a much more like extreme style to what he's doing already. He'd be able to do all those things he can't do at the minute as well, and probably work like Jericho. Just not every week, and do you know what I mean? Like, free range of a lot of things, I'm pretty sure. So
I mean, Randy's work on the mic isn't that great
at
times.
But if you get his real life Randy,
and he was able to say what he wanted and do what he wanted, and even like throw in a few swear words here and there, he'd up his promo skills considerably.
Yeah, and then the fact is, Jon Moxley looks like more of a star than he's ever done in my eyes, as much as anyone else. So it's there. But Randy is a star; he's got star power. But if they get Randy, that's a massive coup for them.
Yeah, because and AEW has a locker room now that is full of experience, and Randy Orton just add to that, and he's another guy that would be incredible at enhancing the next generation of talent that they had there.
Yeah, no, totally with you. Last question, Alex. We've got to wrap this one up. It's from Dan the Man, and he's got an interview. All about our interview. Paul Robinson interview was gold, fellas. Are you going to do more of these sit-down interviews? And yes, we will be doing more of them when we can get them. We're going to be doing. Actually, I'd say we've got another 3 or 4 interviews coming up that I can safely say we'll be doing in the next month, that's for sure. And a couple of guys that I'll say one of them, without giving away the name, is really on the brink of some big things in this country, in the UK, and that you're going to see, I'm pretty sure, in the future to come. We're also going to have Scotty Davis on the podcast as well. He's going to be doing an interview like that, so that's going to be pretty cool for anybody that knows. So he's an up-and-coming talent as well. We've just interviewed with Taylor Essex and Jack Torino, 2 tag team wrestlers that I mentioned earlier. They've been in, so we've got them coming out. Paul Robinson we've sat with. We're going to have someone at ROH. We don't know who yet, and we don't know how that's going to work either, if it's even going to be like a sit-down type of thing. So I can't really say too much on that one. But yeah, we hope to do more of them. Like we're kind of just testing the waters, I think, at the moment, aren't we? Yeah. Like with things, but we was super happy to start with Paul Robinson. Like it's a great name for us to get, Proteus champion, and very much I wrote about him earlier, and I was calling him sort of the Daniel Bryan version of him in the UK in a lot of ways, because he has been the underdog because of his size, and he kept mentioning that all the time. That was his biggest flaw. But suddenly I feel like, he's been quite recognised. And what was nice, I think, from my perspective about Paul Robinson, that I didn't mention earlier, is that, hey, how proud was he to have that belt? I mean, he was cleaning that belt. We were not going to get near that title. No. I'd say me and you had no chance of trying to hold it or anything. But I like that, because it's the only thing in wrestling sometimes. And I think in WWE it's a bit lost now, because guys just get it like willy-nilly. But it's the only thing sometimes where both reality and the show come together. Yeah. And it's like you're rewarded for your efforts, and also the fans see that. And when you see a wrestler going around with a title, treating it that way out of the ring, it gives more it gives even more empowerment to the title. So it was quite cool for me and you as fans to have him show up with the belt. I didn't know if he was going to, but man, he ain't leaving that out of his sight. I mean, that belt. He does not want anybody touching it, including the locker room. Don't go near that title. He get very angry with you. So he's got that by his side, hasn't he? And that was nice to see. Like you see somebody taking a lot of pride into it. So that was cool for us. That's the end of the questions there, Matt. Not so bad. No. 2K20. I don't know what's going to happen to that in the end. We'll find that. Speaking of games, gives me a good opportunity now to recommend where we are doing this podcast from tonight, which is in Neon Nights Arcade and Cafe. It's down in Leon C, the London Road. If you guys are interested in retro games, arcade games like Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, Street Fighter 2, WrestleFest, Matt, favourites of ours, Space Invaders, even a game in here called Outrun that's very popular with the scores. And you want to get back on these and play on the actual machines, not the emulators, the real deal, then no better place than Neon Nights Arcade. You can come down, you pay a one fee for all the entire day's worth of as much as you want to play. It's open down here Thursdays, Fridays, opens from 6 p.m. onwards, and then on the weekends they are, I think it's from 10 o'clock in the morning until I think 11 p.m, somewhere around like that over the weekends. So I mean, think about it. You could come in early, get put your money down, and you're here all day. I mean, one price. You're not going to get that anywhere else. Sticking coins in like you used to, even at 25 pence, would cost you quite a lot of money. Simpsons games in here, the Turtles games. It's a great place. We like the look of it here as well. And next door to it, I mean, you come out of here and you think, I want to play these at home as well. Well, there's the Retro Hunter, and he's got so much good stuff in there. Like it's a place I wouldn't want to go if I had a lot of money on me, Matt, because I might not stop spending.
You may well find the old wrestling games you used to love.
Watch the old wrestling, get the old wrestling game here now. You can get them at any case on here with this. Sorry, we're just flipping phone calls keep time. So it's a great venue to come at and play your games, your retro games at, no doubt about it. Me and Matt have been in here a few nights, haven't we? Yeah. Playing them, trying to beat each other's scores. Not done too well at them, I've got to be honest with you, but I've got a good try for one of my efforts.
It's a nice little cheat that you can get on these scoreboards, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's cool. And on top of that, things come up as well. I'm going to be on a podcast. It's very strange. I'm going to be on the Johners podcast, which a guy based in Wales with the same name as me, John Scott. So it's John Scott versus John Scott here. I'm going on their podcast because they needed a host to fill in. I think that's on the 2nd of November. So I'll be on there that night. So I'll encourage anybody to come over and listen to us. It's a bit different from this one. They talk about different themes to what we talk about here. But I'm kind of... it's good to get us out there. Obviously, he kind of sorted us out. But yeah, John Scott and John Scott. It's going to be a bit...
Sound almost like a booking area.
It is. John Scott. We've got two of them doing exactly the same thing. So, it'll be good to get involved with that. So check that out as well. I don't think there's anything else to plug, Matt. We've got a busy weekend for us as fans. We're going to be... it's always fun taking all our stuff around with us now on the tube. Even more fun, I'm sure, on the trains this Friday, going up to Ring of Honor. But super excited. Can't beat a good weekend's worth of wrestling, can you, really? And then, of course, a week after that, we're at DNA Wrestling, which should be interesting. Don't forget, anybody who hasn't seen the interview with Paul Robinson where he's talking about Big Effing Joe, well, check that out. Definitely intense, and we'll be there for that as well, Matt, in Ipswich. So it's another day out for us there on the Sunday. So all that to look forward to. Thank you as always, Matt, for coming on. And